There. We never used this wing. Nobody's been in here for decades. There's no telling what we'll run into. Kill everyone you see. Don't hesitate. We can't let them release Lorenzo. Let me see. Lucifer's balls. They've locked down all the security doors. Can it wait? I was just in the middle of something. Ah, you're back. Do you need something? What? Who's there? It's not too late. It will take some time for him to regain his powers. We still have a chance to stop him. Well then, I'd better leave you to it. It looks like the Abremelin field is still functioning, although several of the security doors in the basement have already been breached. We'd better hurry if we want to stop them. They seem determined to reach Lorenzo for some reason. You kept them from using the elevator? Good. Wait, listen. Get ready. Oh, yes. Edward usually handles these things. You'll want caps, I suppose? Let me see what I have. Here. I hope this is close to your usual fee. That's truly none of your concern. One moment. Oh, good. Hold on. Weren't you off looking for Imogene? Did you find her? Oh? Good. You'll be wanting to be paid, of course. Edward usually handles these things. Caps is what you use for currency, isn't that right? Here. I hope that's the right amount. Wait. Not now. There would be something left, but perhaps less than you think. The ancients built mighty works that they must have thought would stand the test of time. Yet we know next to nothing about them. In fact, most people don't know they even existed. Ancient powers that modern science, even at its pinnacle, could barely begin to comprehend. My father excavated a city in the Rub al-Khali in Arabia, which he dated to more than 4,000 years before the rise of any known human civilization. The structures and artifacts were strange, disturbing even. Clearly not constructed for or by humans. I've spent my life trying to decipher what he uncovered. You're sending him to look for the missing shipment. You're sending her to look for the missing shipment. Well, if that's how you feel, I'll leave you to Edward. He'll be your immediate supervisor. There won't be any need for us to have any further direct interaction. I don't share your pessimistic view. I still believe that human civilization has a chance to regain its lost glories. This is one reason I'm so passionate about my work. If I can learn the secrets of the ancients, perhaps we can avoid their fate. I'm glad to hear you say that. It's become my life's work. My approach is to combine a rigorous scientific method while keeping an absolutely open mind. So much has been closed off to us simply because people assumed they already knew the answers. Edward will be your immediate supervisor. There won't be any need for us to have any further direct interaction. Yes, if by alien you mean a non-human precursor to the commonly understood founding cultures, Sumer, Egypt, Assyria. I'm sorry if I'm rattling on. I sometimes forget not everyone finds these things as compelling as I do. I'll leave you to Edward. He'll be your immediate supervisor. But remember, I'd love to chat more about this when matters are not so pressing. You should talk to Edward if you need anything. I'm busy. Please, go away. I thought I told you not to bother me. Oh, it's you. Ah, hello. Good to see you again. You know your history. Most people don't grasp how long ago the war really was. Ah, well, that was before the war, when he was a young man. He believed that all of the earliest human civilizations shared some common parent that was unknown to history. Think of Atlantis. The myth of an advanced civilization destroyed by a cataclysm is shared by many widely separated ancient cultures. Eventually, he found what he was looking for. A lost city, buried beneath the sands of the empty quarter of the Arabian desert. Well, yes, he is. Most people don't really grasp how long ago the war really was. Was there anything else? Any more questions? Are we done? I'm sorry you feel that way. I carried out some of my research there. That's all you need to know. Thank you. I try not to take it for granted. We were definitely more fortunate than most. It hasn't been easy keeping it up to pre-war standards, but we do what we can. Actually, it was my father's theory. Now proven beyond doubt, although only to me, unfortunately. There aren't many archaeology journals publishing these days. Enough to satisfy me. Because of his illness, my father could not, or would not, explain exactly where he found the lost city. So I've had to confine my studies to what he brought back from his first expedition. But that's been enough to show beyond a doubt that the city he found wasn't made by or for human beings. Yes, It may sound unbelievable, but there's no other explanation for what my father recovered from the lost city. Impossible? Not much that I would call impossible these days. Yes, he spent years looking, and was widely ridiculed by the so-called experts. I'm ashamed to say even I doubted him. But in the end, he found it. A lost city, buried in the sands of the Rub al-Khali, the empty quarter of Arabia. You wouldn't have. My father only made one expedition to the lost city, and his findings were never published. Yes, the clues were all there, scattered amongst the earliest civilizations, but he was the only one to understand what they meant. He followed them into the empty quarter of Arabia, to the nameless city, buried in the sand, like the mythical Atlantis beneath the waves. My father is confined in Parsons. For his own safety and everyone else's, he became dangerously unstable after handling an ancient artifact he found in Arabia. I've spent my life trying to figure out how to cure him. I'm sorry, but it really is private family business. All right. I've spent my lifetime trying to understand what he brought back. Millennia older than the earliest human civilizations, but with technology that seems to have surpassed our own. And yet, everything about it is strange, disturbing geometries, tools not made for human hands, carvings that hint at dimensions beyond our own. All right. One of the effects of my father's illness was a slowing or arresting of the aging process. So, yes, he is well over 200 years old, as you suspected. It is an unusual situation, but, well, it's a private family matter. That's no concern of yours. Enough to satisfy me. He only made a single expedition to the lost city, but he brought back enough to show beyond a doubt that the city he found wasn't made by or for human beings. Oh, that is bad news. Our supply here is dangerously low. Well, we'll just have to make it last until the next delivery. Well, I suppose that may be true, but if he were to escape from Parsons, I would lose my father forever. I will not allow that to happen. Not to mention that the artifact has made him paranoid, homicidally violent, and endowed with extraordinary abilities. You're right. I was just curious. As you probably guessed, my father is the source of the serum. What? Imogene went too long without a treatment. Yes, especially in the undiluted form that the raiders stole. Interesting. We'll have to talk more about that later, but time presses. Then just do what you're being paid to do. It increases strength and resistance to all kinds of physical damage, so at least some of these raiders may be much more dangerous than the ones you're used to dealing with. In the course of my attempts to cure him, I discovered that the artifact had introduced anomalies into his blood. So the source of his insanity is also the basis of the treatments that have prolonged all our lives. The irony isn't lost on me. My father, Lorenzo Cabot, is confined in Parsons. He became dangerously unstable after handling an artifact he found on an archaeological dig in Arabia. He gained various seemingly paranormal powers, as well as becoming increasingly irrational and violent. In the end, I had no choice but to confine him, for his own safety, as well as ours. Is there anything else before we get going? Patterns of speech, general demeanor, physical health? You reminded me of the old days the moment I laid eyes on you. I just didn't put my finger on it until now. Yes, as you probably guessed, my father is the source of the serum. You're right. It's past time you knew. I suppose it's time you knew. The main benefit of the serum is to halt aging. My family and I are all over 400 years old. But it also confers other side effects, especially in the undiluted form that the raiders stole. Suit yourself, it doesn't matter right now. Yes, I think you were too. I'd say mid-21st century. I'll tell you what you need to know when you need to know it. My father, Lorenzo Cabot, is confined here in a specially constructed cell in the basement. He became dangerously unstable after handling an ancient artifact he brought back from a dig in Arabia. In the end, I had no choice but to confine him, for his own safety as well as ours. It's hard to overstate exactly how dangerous the artifact has made Lorenzo. In addition to being homicidally psychotic, he has also gained enhanced strength an unusual resistance to most kinds of physical damage. He also commands a kind of local telekinesis, which appears to be projected by the artifact itself. Ready? Let's go. You may have guessed by now that my family and I have lived for a very long time, thanks to the serum derived from my father's blood. I discovered the alterations to his blood in some of my earliest attempts to remove the artifact. I eventually isolated the anomalous compounds, which led to the serum treatment we still use. Now, we really need to focus on the current emergency. It's the artifact that's made Lorenzo so dangerous. I'm sure his psychosis would be cured if it could be removed. But so far, all my attempts have failed. It's fused too tightly with his nervous system. You should know what we're going to be dealing with. Almost there. Let's hope we're not too late. Just to be clear, under no circumstances can we allow Lorenzo to be freed from Parsons. I would have lost my father forever. I refuse to let that happen after spending so long trying to cure him. Not now. I wonder if these could be the same raiders that stole that last shipment. If some of them had used the undiluted serum, it could explain their unusual success against Edward's men. I'm well aware of the apparent conflict of interest in my father being the source of the treatment that is prolonging my own life. But I assure you that if I had the chance, I would gladly give it all up to have my father back, even for a short time. I love Father at least as much as you do, but you know as well as I do that if he gets free, there will only be one option. I'm sorry if you feel that I've been keeping you in the dark. The serum that the raiders stole confers a host of benefits, the main one being to halt aging. My family and I are all over 400 years old, but it also confers other side effects, especially in the undiluted form that the raiders stole. Now, I really do have to go. If these intruders have gotten past Edward's men, they may have freed Lorenzo. I'm the only one who understands exactly how to deal with him. Is that clear enough for you? I'll do my best, Mother. And if Imogene finally comes home, for God's sake, don't let her leave again until I get back. Those idiots are trying to shut down the Abremelin field. That's the only thing keeping Lorenzo from breaking out of there. I'll have to open them one by one from here while you work your way down the hallway. Quickly now! Oh, he would have killed both of us. And then the rest of my family. And that would only have been the beginning. Well, maybe you'll still find some use for it. I don't want it. It just reminds me of my father. Ah, you're back. Good news. I hope you find some use for it. We didn't have any other choice, did we? I hope you're right. I think this time I really was close to finding a way to cure him. No, I've answered my own question. We truly had no choice. I wish that were true, but I don't think so. He would have killed us, and then the rest of my family, and that would have only been the beginning. It uses standard energy cells for power. The artifact's internal power supply was destroyed. Otherwise, point and shoot. It doesn't kill people, but you may still be able to find some use for it. You're right. I shouldn't hold a grudge after all your help. No, I don't think so. Now please, leave me to mourn my father in peace. Well, goodbye. I'd like to mourn my father in peace. One more thing. I've done so much research on the artifact. I may be able to do something with it. Yes! Now set the other 3 generators and I can end this. You've got to set the other generators before it's too late. Hurry. His powers are returning. If you don't set the generators soon, he'll free himself and then we're all dead. I know. He would have killed both of us, of course. And then the rest of my family, and that would only have been the beginning. It was originally my father's theory. We need to get in there and stop them. Well, I've tested it in the lab. But there's nothing like some good field testing to really shake out the kinks. You fool! Why didn't you do as I asked? Before you go, I couldn't have done this without your help. I think this is fair compensation. I won't be needing your services after this. I'm surprised to hear you say that. But thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. His crimes, back when he was free, it was only because of my family's influence that he ended up here, rather than on death row. The world now, it's a world made for monsters. Nothing could have stopped him. Come back and see me at Cabot House in a week or so. All my research may not have been completely in vain. I need to bury my father and shut down this place. I won't be back here again. You know, I was so close to understanding the artifact. Now that I can study it directly, I may be able to do something useful with it. No, without Parsons to run, I don't think I'll need such an extensive staff. Yes, without Parsons to maintain, I don't see a need for your services. As for myself, I don't know. Maybe I'll finally travel to the southwest. My father was always convinced that there was another alien city buried somewhere in the Mojave Desert. There's no way to control it without direct neural input. For better or worse, all of that was destroyed when my father died. But you still have a rather powerful directed force. Here, see what you think. I've hooked it up to this old laser rifle. I don't care what you think anymore. I've figured out how to access the artifact's telekinesis effect. Now just set the last generator and I can end this. I think there's still time. 2 more to go. Hurry! We're running out of time. You're right. I'm a little muddled at the moment. Let me think. Edward, don't be so hasty. I like the look of this fellow. Damn! Are they all on the serum? A little help here! He's on the serum! She's going to be hard to stop thanks to the serum. They certainly seem to have arrived in force. We cannot let them hold us up! Mother won't stop pestering me about Imogene, as if I don't have anything else to worry about. This is my property. You are trespassing. We don't have time for this. More of them? For God's sake, how many of these bastards are there? No question now that these are the ones that stole the serum. Look out! This one's taken the serum! Time is of the essence. Kill them quickly! Good luck persuading Imogene to come home. Imogene runs off like this mainly to provoke Mother and by extension irritate me. Now I really do need to get back to work. Now if you don't mind, I'd like to enjoy my dinner in peace. If that's all, I'd like to eat in peace for a few minutes. Yes, I suppose so. What is it? It can't wait? Fine, let's hear it. I'm sure it must be important for you to interrupt me. Go ahead. Now? All right, I assume it must be important. Let's hear it. I know. Mother's been starting to pester me as well. But I really don't think we need to worry about her yet. She'll come home when she gets tired of whatever new boyfriend she's found herself. Yes, of course. What a mess. Let's hope we can find a way through. Father, I will stop this. The utility elevator is on the bottom floor. Come on. You know I can't let you out until I can remove the artifact. Ignore her, Mother. She's just trying to provoke you. What? How? I can hardly believe it. I don't know what to say. You'll have to give me a moment. What it means is that we don't have to worry about Lorenzo coming here to kill us. And also that we're all going to have to learn to do without the serum. Our little taste of immortality is over. There's no time for that right now. I'll explain on the way. Father, don't do this. There's still one chance. I just need a moment to enter the failsafe codes. Kill them, quickly! We can still stop him if you act quickly. Hurry! It won't be long before nothing can hold him. I need to bury my father, and then... I don't know. I won't be back to Parsons again. Don't hesitate. We need to get to Parsons. Just follow me. Come on. We need to find out what's happening at Parsons. We need to hurry. We can't let them free Lorenzo. There's no time to waste talking. If they manage to free Lorenzo before I can stop them, it's not worth thinking about. This place has really fallen to pieces over the years. We'd better stick together in here. This doesn't look good. I hope Edward is all right. We need to get to my office. At least no one was killed. I'm sorry about Edward. He was a loyal companion for a very long time. I don't know what I'm going to do without Imogene. Mother would still be alive if you hadn't been such a fool. You should have listened to me and none of this would have happened. You see now that I was right about Lorenzo. Too late, of course. Please, Mother, I need to get back to work. I really wish you wouldn't bother me when I'm working. I can't get anything done with these constant interruptions, Mother. No, Mother, not since the last time you asked. Good. You can use whatever funds you need to get it repaired. Well, I'm sure you and your men will handle it. You always have. I wonder if it's just time to toss it out and find a new one. Lucifer's balls, not again. I swear this neighborhood is getting worse all the time. What do you make of it? I guess that's what we're paying them for. Go ahead and hire someone to replace him. I suppose there's no help for it. Go ahead and hire someone to replace her. Again? Anything we need to worry about? Well, that's a shame. Anything I should be worried about? Not yet. Isn't it enough that I had Edward send someone to track her down again? Oh, for heaven's sake, Mother, don't you have anything else to worry about? For heaven's sake, Mother. I'll have Edward find more for you. I'm sure he doesn't have anything better to do. Enough, Mother. We don't have Edward to run errands for you anymore. You're just going to have to do without sometimes. You know they aren't making that anymore, don't you, Mother? I can't just send someone down to the liquor store for more. Supplies. You mean the liquor cabinet is getting empty again? Oh, Edward. Did you need something? Is anything wrong? You know why I spend all my time in the lab. There have been so many dead ends, but I feel like I'm getting close to a solution this time. I don't have time to take any breaks. The readings from Parsons are... Well, I just don't know that the containment will hold forever. What is it, Edward? My work is important. You know that, and this time, I think I'm really getting close to a breakthrough. This was all so unnecessary. Let's eat. I'm hungry. Let's eat. Who's hungry? Hello, Mother. Mother. Hello. Mother. How are you? Mother has passed. She just couldn't survive for long without the serum. Good night, Mother. Good night. Edward. The good bourbon, eh? This is my ancestral home. The Cabots have always lived here, since long before the Great War. If you're asking what we're still doing here, with Boston in its current sad state, well, that's a story for another time, perhaps. All in good time, all in good time. Consider this your final interview before getting the job. And I am very pleased to meet you. Edward finds it tiresome, but I always like to know personally everyone who works for me. One moment, I just have to. Please, have a seat. How about a drink? Hello, hello. Welcome to Cabot House. I'm Jack Cabot. Yes, Edward finds it tiresome, but I always like to know personally everyone who works for me. Oh, damn. Clearly, I'll need to adjust the mixture. Welcome to the family. Now, before we get down to business, I have a question I like to ask all my new employees. I'm sorry, Edward. I just get carried away sometimes. The question is this. Do you believe there is other intelligent life in the universe? You misunderstand me. I'm not talking about the flying saucers of popular hysteria. What I refer to is the hidden history of our planet, the very origins of human civilization. You joke, but make a good point. Say humans perish from the earth, as they seem intent upon doing. Say thousands of years from now, a new civilization arose. What would they know of us? Don't interrupt, Edward. No, that's all popular hysteria. I doubt any of it has any basis in fact. I'm talking about the hidden history of our planet, the very origins of human civilization. Wonderful. Most people's minds are too narrow to admit the possibilities of an infinite universe. But I'm not talking about flying saucers and little green men. I'm talking about the hidden history of our planet, the very origins of human civilization. We'll talk more about this some other time, when things are less rushed. It isn't important now. Edward? Who is it? No, but that doesn't mean... I'm sorry to have to involve you in the affairs of my sister Imogene. She goes out of her way to make my life difficult, running off and leaving me to deal with my mother. Edward will give you the details, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no rush. Ah, good. Finally. This will help settle Mother down. Mother, will you let it go, please? If she wanted us to know where she went, she would have told someone. Mother, Edward has better things to do than sending someone out to find Imogene. Again. She's not missing, Mother. I'm not going to have Edward drop everything just because Imogene decided to take a lover again. We've been over this, Mother. She's a grown woman. She's perfectly capable of looking after herself. I'm not Imogene's babysitter. If she chooses to go off without telling anyone, that's her business. You shouldn't indulge her, Edward. It just makes her more impossible to deal with next time. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't just kill you right now. What are you doing, Edward? You can't seriously doubt me, Edward. After all I've done for you? I can't believe you thought I was lying to you, Edward. After all I've done for you. Please, have a seat. We'll have to go through the abandoned part of the building. Edward, how badly are you hurt? Just follow my instructions and everything will be fine. Just do what you're being paid to do. If these intruders have gotten past Edward's men, they may have created an extraordinarily dangerous situation. I'm the only one who understands how to deal with these dangers. Is that clear enough for you? If you think I'm crazy, you haven't actually met someone like my father. If he was to get free in his current condition, slaughtering me and my family would be only the start of his reign of terror. I didn't see any alternative. I've devoted all my efforts since then to try to figure out how to remove the artifact. That's right. Almost 400 years now. The Abremelin field is down! I built a failsafe into the containment grid, switched the 4 Abremelin generators to manual override, and I can flood his cell with a lethal dose of Zeta radiation. Get away while you can!
Goodbye, Father.
That's it! Don't worry, the Zeta radiation won't harm you. Do not listen to him. This is what he does. Surely you can see that. As soon as you set the Abremelin generators, I can end this. He's lying! Don't listen to him! Do not let him out! You fool! No!
I'm sorry, Father. I did everything I could to avoid this. I believe I was close to finding a way to remove the artifact.
I can see why you like him, Edward. He has such a way with words.
Convince me that I should still trust you.
Not so fast. We're not done here. I can see why you like her, Edward. She has such a way with words. That proves nothing. You could be here spying for Lorenzo. Have you lost your mind? Why did you release Lorenzo? No, of course not, or we'd all be dead already. Now answer the question. Why did you free him?
I don't care what you think anymore. Before you go, you did make the right choice in the end. So I feel I owe you something for your help. I think this is fair compensation. I won't be needing your services after this. Before you go, you did make the right choice in the end. So I feel I owe you something for your help. I think this is fair compensation. I won't be needing your services after this. Come back in a week or so. All my research may not have been completely in vain. I need to bury my family, and then... I don't know. I'm surprised to hear you say that, but thank you. Thank you for that. I blame myself, most of all, for not finding a way to cure Lorenzo before it came to this.
And you somehow think your words mean anything to me after what you've done?
Please leave, and let me mourn in peace.
Now, while he's weakened! This is our chance! While the Zeta radiation has weakened him! Now's our chance!
And now, because of you, my sister is dead. And now, because of you, my mother is dead.
At least nobody died. A small miracle, really. It's a terrible shame about Edward. But at least Wilhelmina and Imogen are safe.
But what good did it do in the end? My family is dead.
That's true. It's a terrible shame about Edward, though. He'd been with me for a long time. But at least my family is safe. You didn't know. You chose to listen to that madman rather than me. And now, they're both... No one would have been killed if you had just listened to me at Parsons!
That's true. And things could have turned out much worse than they did.
Yes, without Parsons to maintain, I won't need as much staff. You could have listened to me. I made it very clear how important it was for you to follow my instructions.
I only wish I'd been able to find some way to cure my father before it came to this. I still believe that with a little more time, I might have found some way to remove the artifact. But it doesn't matter now. Mercenary to the end. But let it never be said that a Cabot didn't pay his debts. Here. Now please leave, and let me mourn in peace.
Any obligation I had to you became void when you let Lorenzo get free to murder my family.
Now get out of here, and let me mourn in peace.
Now do you see? I told you what would happen if Lorenzo got free.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You did come back to help. I'll give you that much. I need to bury my father, and clean up this mess. I won't be back to Parsons again.
Hurry before the effect wears off!
You're right. I'm really just angry at myself for not finding a way to prevent all of this.
You take no responsibility for any of it? I don't blame you for everything. But if you had listened to me back at Parsons, we could have stopped Lorenzo before any of this had to happen.
What's done is done, though. No use crying over spilt milk.
But it could have been worse. Much worse. And now, because of you, my family is dead. But all of this could have been avoided if you'd just listened to me instead of that madman.
That's true. A small miracle, really. And I do realize you didn't have to come back to help us.
Yes?
Good.
The old utility elevator is still working. This will take us to the basement. Come on, this is the only way down. Over here. Let's go. Once you know Edward better, you'll realize what a genuinely nice fellow he is. But let's not let a momentary misunderstanding ruin the moment. It's been so long since we've had a visitor. Please accept my apologies for Edward's behavior. He's just looking out for me, but sometimes he can be overzealous. I'm Jack Cabot. Welcome to Cabot House. Pleased to meet you. Seems like a long time since we've had a visitor. Come on, this way. There's no need to stand talking in the front hall like savages. Edward, don't be so hasty. I like the look of this lady. Edward, I think this occasion calls for drinks. The good bourbon, eh? Edward, switch over to the Hartley modulator. Do you copy? The guards at Parsons called in that they were under attack. Edward went to help. I've only just been able to raise him. Briefly. I didn't get much, but it sounds like the situation there is nearly out of control. Could be. If some of them had used the undiluted serum, it could explain their unusual success against Edward's men. Oh, yes. Good. Good. I'll explain on the way. That isn't helping, Mother, and as I recall, using the serum was your idea, not mine. Not at all. That was merely a serendipitous benefit of my research, which has allowed me to continue working on finding a cure. That's why I usually don't bother trying to explain my family's unusual situation. I wouldn't call it lucky. He is my father, after all. I've spent years searching for some way to remove the artifact without killing him. So far, nothing but dead ends. But I haven't given up, and I never will. The artifact that caused Lorenzo's psychosis also introduced anomalies into his blood. I discovered that these caused a variety of side effects, one of them being to drastically slow or halt the aging process. When Lorenzo put it on, it somehow fused itself with his nervous system. All my early attempts to remove it nearly killed him. Since then, I've confined myself to trying to understand how it works in the hopes of neutralizing or disabling it. I'm glad you find this situation so amusing. The problem is, I don't know whose side you're on. Based on what you did back at Parsons, I have to assume Lorenzo's. And now he's coming here to kill all of us. Are you satisfied? Well, for Edward's sake, okay. I'm sorry, but I just can't overlook what you've done. That's a lie. I've worked for centuries to find a way to cure him. But he doesn't want to be cured. He likes what he's become. How did you get in here? It's a little late for that epiphany. I'm sure Lorenzo's on his way to kill us all right now. I'm opening the main door. Hurry! Maybe you can help me. I've been looking for some things for a new research project. Well, I'm sure I can give you a better price than most any common trader. Oh, well, I'm not quite ready to discuss it publicly. It's early days yet. Might not work out. I'm sure you understand. Thank you for checking. Likewise. Of course. But before you go, maybe you can help me with something. I don't see what that is to you. I decided it was time to get out more. See the world a bit. Figure out what to do with the rest of my life. Suit yourself. I just thought I'd ask. Well, now that my time isn't entirely taken up with my father's condition, I thought I should get out and see the world a bit. Let's go, Edward. I need a large quantity of fiber optics. I'd be glad to purchase any that you have. If you have anything that contains circuitry, I'd be glad to purchase it from you. If you have anything containing nuclear material, I'd be happy to purchase it from you. I appreciate you taking the time. No. In fact, I'd just as soon we don't cross paths again. Well, as a matter of fact, I've been looking for some things for a new research project. Well, how about this? Fancy meeting you out here. I never expected to run into you again. Yes? Okay, stick close, follow my orders, and I'm sure everything will be fine. Let's go. Let's call it a misunderstanding and put it behind us. Now come in. Make yourself at home. It seems like we haven't had a visitor in ages. Exactly right. Hello? Edward? Come in. Edward! Enhanced strength, unusual resistance to most kinds of physical damage. Oh, and a kind of local telekinesis, which appears to be projected by the artifact itself. That's why I've built a dampening field into his cell. Which is why we really need to stop these intruders before they turn it off. I don't have time to answer all your questions. You'll just have to trust that I understand the situation a lot better than you do. Don't worry, I'll handle it. That was Edward. He's at Parsons, the old asylum. They're under attack by raiders. It's strange. The guards have held off raiders before without any trouble. I don't know what's gone wrong this time. Oh, that's done it! Edward, what's going on there? Edward! Edward! Damn, the signal is strangely weak.
I suppose it's time you knew. Damn, the door's blocked from the other side somehow.
Well, then don't worry about it. Me and your friend here will have to take care of things ourselves. Hello, Edward. Edward! Evening, Edward.
Leave me in peace. I need to mourn my father.
I'm sorry to hear you say that, but not surprised. Perhaps one day I will succeed in changing your mind.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
I would love to sit down and discuss some of my methods in more detail. I'm getting tired of your constant jibes. Just do what you're being paid to do. Then it's time to learn, or neither one of us is likely to leave Parsons alive. Ah! There's no signal at all. I've lost him. Ah, yes, of course. I'll explain on the way.
Good.
Make sure you have whatever you'll need for a serious battle. I'll wait for you outside. Before we go, I need you to understand something. When we get to Parsons, you need to do exactly what I tell you. Nothing more, nothing less. Is that clear? I said I'll handle it. I'm thinking.
Inside? Can you keep them out of the basement?
Right. It's probably not important anyway. Edward, are you there? Can you hear me now? Edward, go ahead. Try again. I think it's clearing up. Exactly right. I'm sorry if you feel that I've been keeping you in the dark. But what she told you is true. I've developed a treatment from the serum that has allowed my family and I to live for over 400 years. It also confers other side effects, especially in the undiluted form that the raiders stole. I'm not in the habit of sharing family secrets with strangers. That's Imogene's specialty. Listen, if they're inside the building, you have to go to the office and shut down the elevator. You can't risk them getting to Lorenzo. Edward, switch to single sideband modulating. Can you hear me? This is maddening.
Edward's men seem to have given a good account of themselves, but not good enough, sadly.
Are you sure you can't get up? I could really use your help.
We'll have to find a way around. We need to get to my office. From there we can see how bad things really are.
They've definitely reached the basement, although I don't understand how they knew how to get past it. It doesn't matter now. Now, we need to get to the basement before these intruders find a way to set Lorenzo free. Follow me.
Maybe. But remember, if Lorenzo gets free, the source of the serum will be gone.
Go ahead. I don't think we were done.